Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Bad Batch video. The third season is 25 days away, and as I've been doing since the trailer dropped on Monday, we're going to be doing some more close examinations of more specific frames. We're going to do some speculation, and then we do have a bit of news. But before we dive into any of it, my dear friends, if you've not done so already, please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down below, and why not hit the bell to be alerted every time that I post a new video. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive into it. So we begin with a couple more blink and you'll miss the moments from the Season 3 trailer, and a tiny detail from Season 2 that just came full circle. It's something so minute, you may have already forgotten about it. In Season 2, Episode 14, Tipping Point, Crosshair fails to make an escape from Mount Tantiss. He tries to bargain his way out with scientist Emerie Karr and holds her at gunpoint, but she remarks that even if she gives him what he wants, which is her access code, the hounds of the facility would find him within minutes. This detail got many fans scratching their heads, wondering, what kind of hounds is she talking about? Presumably some kind of security dogs, of which a variety of species have appeared across various Disney Star Wars projects, like Andor, Solo, and even in the Bad Batch Season 1. But the ones Emerie Karr was referencing are different, and we actually see one in the trailer, and its appearance answers a major question about Omega and Crosshair's escape. As I broke down the other day, there is sufficient evidence in the new trailer that Omega and Crosshair at some stage do make it out, even if it's temporary. They crash land a ship, at some stage they fight with the Bad Batch, but we can see Omega fighting with her old beau next to Wrecker, and so when the two make their escape, they seem to have brought with them a canine friend. Originally a guardhound on Mount Tantiss, when Omega and Crosshair escape Wayland, it seems like they've tamed and domesticated one of those hounds and taken it with them. It escapes the ship as they crash land, but also on Wayland itself. It appears to me they've trained the hound to go after stormtroopers who are hunting for them, the escapees of the cloning facility. You really can't fault the continuity within the Bad Batch. Even if fans don't always like every single episode, criticisms of filler episodes, or maybe the odd occasion where they bring back certain dead characters, there is a consistency and continuity in the story, at a time where the same can't be said for every other Disney Plus show. I thought this was a neat little detail, and another example of Disney going their own way with their canon, all the while taking inspiration from the expanded universe. Because when Emerie Karr first mentioned the hounds, some wondered if it was related to creatures mentioned in the pages of Star Wars Legends. For example, in the Thrawn trilogy, Star Wars fans theorized if Timothy Zahn's famous Vaughnsker were about to make their transition to canon. These canine beasts came from the planet Merkur. They hunted the Emerie using the Force. The latter species ironically was used by Palpatine to guard Mount Tantiss. And it's an interesting point that functionally, even though the Emerie were lizard-like and not dogs, we wondered if the hounds in Disney canon would be akin to the purpose of the Emerie on Wayland, who are still canon thanks to Star Wars Rebels. But the Vaughnsker were menacing hounds, and smuggler Talon Card kept two of them, named Sturm and Drang. But the ones in Disney canon on Wayland look very different, they're a different species. I'm curious to see if the Bad Batch Season 3 is going to draw any more connections inspired by the EU. And I've spoken about the various ways this early period of the Empire and what's going on Wayland could influence the time period of the New Republic through the Remnants projects. But the mention of the hounds from Season 2 are finally coming full circle. And speaking of Emerie Karr, her existence and her revelation to Omega that she is her sister has brought about questions and curiosity that have been ongoing since Season 1. Now, if you guys remember, the Dawn of Rebellion visual guide gave us a pretty significant hint there are more secrets surrounding the origins of Omega than we realise, and this logically implied a reveal in the final season, Season 3. Now, setting aside the question of whether or not she will survive, they need to answer the biggest question of all. Why was she created in the first place? She is older than her brothers. She's been around since the time of Attack of the Clones, and tech confirmed she is more or less the female version of Boba Fett, an unaltered Django clone. While a recent theory that has popped up in fan spaces, which I think is worth mentioning, is arguably the most compelling of every theory we've seen. It is not far-fetched, it's rather tame, but also demands an appearance, in my opinion, from Boba Fett at some point. The theory goes like this. Contrary to popular fan speculation, She is not force sensitive or anything like that, but rather, she is the direct product of the scientific method. Boba Fett's codename by the cloners was Alpha, meaning that he was the control variable. Omega, on the other hand, was the experimental clone, because the cloners needed to test if Jango Fett's DNA could be modified, and so, an easy test for the Kaminoans to show variability was to switch the chromosomes. A pretty simple test, by their standards. And that is how Omega came about, and then Nala Se kept her on and raised her to be a lab assistant. That is a very good, simple, solid theory. It doesn't rely on anything too crazy. It's pretty straightforward. And then from there we don't know. Maybe she was implanted with some kind of mind control. Maybe there is a switch in there that can flip with a certain command. Some kind of programming similar to a chip, but different to the ones of the other clones. So how does Emerie Karr play into this? Well, quite simply, she might be a clone of Omega. Even though she looks older, she might have accelerated aging, like most of the clones. Omega doesn't, on the other hand. But I wonder if this revelation of why Omega was created is going to come up in Season 3. Could it create a psychological, traumatic identity crisis? Omega was already insecure being this disposable clone. Could this exacerbate it? Or, as I say, if Boba Fett appears in Season 3, could he provide a revived sense of purpose and specialness, showing her that the last two remaining Fetts, genuine children of Jango, despite also being clones, but they do have to answer a lot of questions. The purpose of Omega's creation, why Nala Se deemed her to be so special, and what they're going to do with her genetic code. As I say, my dear friends, Season 3 is 25 days away. We're so close. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. And so finally, my dear friends, just a bit of clone news. 2024 is set to give us a range of very exciting LEGO sets. And in one of the 25th LEGO anniversary sets, boarding the Tantiss V4, the iconic opening scene from A New Hope, the set includes a very special gift, a minifigure of 501st Trooper 5s. It's unrelated, of course, to the scene, but it's a special gift in that set. I think that's quite exciting. We also look forward to brickheads which were inspired by the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, the Skeleton cruise ship, Keller and Beck and Grogu, Order 66 Escape, and lots more. But if you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, share your thoughts on all of the theories we spoke about down below, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.